Hey guys, my name is Tristan from the CPAPstore.ca. Today we're looking at the best high pressure CPAP mask. I just made a video called Best CPAP Mask 2025, and a lot of the comments were saying that the F40 is not good for high pressures. I mentioned it in the video, and then I started realizing that yes, I may have given the best CPAP mask for 2025 for the general user, kind of like if my dad or my mom needed CPAP, like what advice I would give to them, like what I genuinely believe is the best mask. Same thing when someone comes in the store, they're starting CPAP, those are the recommendations we give to them. But there is a large amount of people who use high pressures, and those masks don't necessarily work that well for them. They are comfortable masks, they have a lot of great features, but if they leak, then they are no good. So today we're going to be talking about the best high pressure masks. This is just my opinions, but this is based on our tens of thousands of clients, the feedback, and what I believe when I've tested all these masks at higher pressures. A high pressure, I'm going to say, is 15 plus. I think that if you are in that range on an APAP, like you're 10 to 15, I still think you can go with the last video because that's kind of moderate pressure. But if you're kind of like 14 to 20 or 17, 18, 19, where a majority of your sleep is above 15, that's when I would start to consider these masks because I do find them to be a little bit better. Now, before I begin, I just want to say no matter what mask you have, get CPAP soap or CPAP wipes, or just make sure that you're cleaning your CPAP mask regularly. It is very important for your own health. Even though you're the only one using the mask, you still have bacteria that is, in small amounts, is harmless. But if you're using the mask every day and that starts building up in the mask, it can actually cause illnesses. Same thing with washing your dishes or rinsing your toothbrush even. If you didn't rinse your toothbrush ever, it'd be pretty gross. Same thing with your CPAP mask. You gotta wipe it daily in the morning after you're done using it, and then every week use CPAP soap or dish soap or vinegar or whatever, and clean it once a week. Okay, the first mask we're gonna talk about is a classic, the ResMed F20 full face mask. Now, I recommended the F40 in the other video because for most people it's going to be more comfortable, but the F40 has a soft cushion all the way through, whereas the F20 and most other full face masks have a harder cushion. Now, it's still soft down here, okay? This is the AirTouch version, so it has memory foam and silicone. It's still soft here, but the plastic frame around the cushion allows the mask to maintain the shape. Doesn't matter what the pressure is. So if it's high, it's gonna maintain the shape pretty well. And what we find is that those with high pressures often use the F20 mask, and it's one of the most popular CPAP masks we sell. Now, in some other videos, I've recommended the Vitera full face mask by Fisher & Paykel. I still think that's a great mask. It has the roll fit, very comfortable front cushion technology, but overall, based on the data, people have better success with the F20. So I like the Vitera better, but most people like the F20 better. So I can't just give you my bias on these videos. And then I would also say that the comforts of this mask are better for everybody. And what I mean by that is you got the rotation at the front and the swivel and the ball joint, but you also have the quiet air technology. So you have a ring here with that fabric inside that diffuses the air, and the Vitera doesn't have that. So this mask is a lot quieter than the Vitera, both for you as the user and your spouse listening to the mask. Overall, the F20 is one of the most popular masks. It is evolved from the F10 and then I think like the Quattro before that. So this style has been around for 30 years. This is the newest iteration, and there's a reason why people keep on using the F20. Now, if you don't want a mask that covers your nose, okay, this one here is a full face mask, right? It covers the bridge of my nose. Okay, now I'm Asian. I don't have a lot of cartilage in my nose. I have a squishy nose. I'm not saying all Asians have this type of nose, but I do. And I don't really like these masks because it squishes the bridge, and then I pretty much exclusively have to breathe out of my mouth with these masks. So I prefer hybrid masks, probably why I was biased and said the F40 is better too. But if you are looking for a hybrid mask in a higher pressure, then I would go with the F&P Evora. Now, the F&P Evora full face mask has some quirks to it. I feel like this area here is a little bit low. It kind of touches my ears. Not for everybody, but I think it's just low in general. I've seen like their own product photos, and like this is kind of rubbing their ears right here. So that's one thing to note. Another thing to note is that it doesn't have a swivel up front. It's a nice clean design, but there's no swivel, so you get a little more buildup of tension within the tube of the mask. Also, you don't have a diffuser. You just have these tiny little holes here which blow out air, so it's a little more windy of a mask, a little more louder of a mask. Other than those things though, in terms of the actual fitment of this mask and the ability to hold leaks, it holds leaks extremely well. Extremely well. Especially if you're at a higher pressure. You have a lot of reinforcement here. There's always that joke where like CPAP users look like people like in the Air Force.
Maverick, range control. Green range is
Looks like it the most. I don't know what it is. It just looks so hardcore. You have the cushion here with the hard frame, right? You have a lot of indents and stuff that I think just adds structure and adds support. The cup or the cushion around the nose is quite deep, so it kind of holds everything together quite well. And then even the frame, like you got this extra part in the stability frame here. The headgear wraps around the frame here, so I'll snap it off and just make sure that there's even pressure. And overall, the structure of the mask, whatever it is very good at holding leaks. It is, like I said, loud. Like there's just weird, quirky complaints that people have with it. But if you're looking for a hybrid full face mask that is specifically made for those with higher pressures, the Evora full face mask is on the top of that list. Also with the Evora full face mask, it's very easy to clean. Okay, I take off this cushion, take off the headgear. The clips come off really nice and easily. The front tube pops off. This one's a little trickier. You kind of have to bend it like that. It doesn't have a diffuser, which makes it loud, but everything is so cleanly like taken apart. If you're wiping this down, like you can access every nook and cranny of this mask and you're going to be able to use it longer because you can keep it clean longer and it's not going to break down as much. Okay, so that is another good thing with the Evora. Moving on to nasal, I just look at my thing. Now moving on to nasal, I just looked over here and I realized there's one mask I want to talk about that I forgot. It's over there. Let me go get it. Okay, I'm back. All right, best nasal mask for high pressure, the ResMed N20. Now I recommended the ESON 2 in the last video, and I do think it's better for a general amount of people because it's a lot quieter. It has the removable diffuser. I find it to be more comfortable. It has the roll fit technology, but I think, I don't know, because of this or something about it, we find that people with high pressures do gravitate more or switch back to the N20. Now, in my opinion, I think they hold leaks very well, but for whatever reason, people with high pressures like the N20 better, and that's what I'm going to recommend for you. Now, the only reason why I recommend the ESON 2 instead of the N20 is because, well, the main reason is they're so similar, just one's just way quieter. But with higher pressures, I guess this cushion of the N20, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a little wider, maybe it just like cups the nose a little bit better, but if you're at a high pressure, it's gonna hold leak a little bit better based on my experience and based on the experiences of our customers. One thing to note is it doesn't have a diffuser up front there, so it's a little bit louder of a mask, but you do have a 360 swivel and a 360 rotation on the front of the tube, and the rest of the headgear is very comfortable. There's no complaints with it. It's a little more minimal compared to the ESON 2 as well. It just goes down the sides, splays out at the side of the head versus having the stuff in your face. So that you got that going for it, and you also have the option of doing the AirTouch version or the AirFit version, so the silicone version or the memory foam version. This one here is the AirTouch, so you got the memory foam. Okay, the memory foam you can't wash, you can't get it wet, so you do have to replace it every 30 days, which ResMed probably loves because it makes money. So if you can keep yourself using the silicone version, I recommend it because you are going to save money. Top mounted masks. I think I was going to give one more full face mask, the full face top mounted mask option. This is the X30i. So this is the newest mask from ResMed. The X30i is similar to the F30i, but the cushion's different. But you can change them over. I think it's the same frame. you can just change the front cushion. Now looking at the cushion here, it's pretty much like an F30i, okay? But it has a different front here, and you have pillows. So you have this little pillow thing, and it goes into your mask, and then you have a pillow version of the F30i. Okay, you also have a quiet air diffuser, which the F30i doesn't have, making this a quieter, more modern mask. Now, in my review of the X30i, I still recommended the F30i because it's like way cheaper, and I thought it was pretty much the same comfort-wise, if not more comfortable. And these pillows, when they're on masks like this, on tube-up designs, there's been some older variants in the past, it kind of pushes up your nose too much. That being said, the pillows do seal better. So if you are at the higher pressures, I would assume the X30i is going to work better for you. Now, when I first made the review of this video, it just came out, so we didn't have a ton of feedback. We've gotten feedback for the X30i, and there has been a lot of positive stuff around it. So I feel safe to actually recommend it now as one of the better full face masks. If you are trying a full face mask tube up design for the first time, I would still recommend the F30 because it's way cheaper, and then you can buy the cushions and stuff separately if it's just not working for you. Now, this is an expensive mask. That is the elephant in the room. It's like $300 something or something insane. And I think that the cushion, like interval changing, recommendations from ResMed is very high as well, like very frequent, and they're also super expensive. So this is a very expensive mask. I was talking to the ResMed reps about it. They just said it's just insanely expensive to make. Price tag is expensive, and the cost to make it is insanely expensive, and it's not a great recommendation as your first mask because it is just so expensive and is so niche. But if you are in that category, you want a top-mounted mask, nothing seals, you're at a super high pressure, this might be the one to get, okay? If you can fork out that amount of money. If you log into our website, you get all our masks way cheaper because we don't have to adhere to like MSRP, like minimum price advertising restrictions. So you just log in, get cheaper prices. This is still expensive. It's still cheaper than retail, but still expensive. Moving on to our pillow, more minimal mask, our nasal mask. We have two masks today. So we have the Solo. Now the Solo is a very minimal mask. It's auto adjusting. So as you press it in, it gets tighter and tighter, similar to a seatbelt. And that's why I'm recommending it for this high pressure video, because you can press it in a little bit better and it gets tight and locks on your face, and then it won't come off. So its competitors like the Micro by Fisher & Paykel and the P10 both have more elastic band options. And so when they kind of blow off your face, like I said, we're at a 15 plus pressure in this video, you're going to be hit in the eyes with some hardcore pressure. But this guy here, you can kind of push it in. It gets tighter and tighter and tighter. It really locks firm in place. So if you are at a higher pressure, it's less likely to come off your head. One thing to note about this guy is that it is loud, does not have a quiet air or diffuse, like a fabric diffuser. If that is very important to you, I would try the Brevida first. If that's not important to you, then I would try the Solo first. The Brevida is kind of like the old version of this. Very similar pillow, but a lot of people didn't like the headgear. But it was very quiet, and it was a lot more stable than the P10. So again, high pressure options, you're going to go with the Brevida, or you can try this guy here, the Solo. Okay, last mask for this video, the P30i with the N30i Air Touch frame. You can have the normal P30i, but I just want to show you this variant here. The normal P30i with the AirFit frame is just like silicone around here. The AirTouch frame is more comfortable, has a nice soft liner, doesn't like go on the hair as much, doesn't irritate as much. But the P30i tube-up mask is a very good mask at high pressures because it's relatively quiet due to the quiet air diffuser, but some of the extra exhaust can come up the top of the mask, which is nice. Helps you, I don't know. At high pressure, sometimes it feels hard to exhale. So having kind of like the two ports is kind of nice. It seals really well. ResMed pillows do seal very well. They're double-walled silicone. They have an outer layer and an inner layer within the pillow itself making them very, very good at sealing. And when you have a mask like this that is pretty structured on your head, I would say it's a pretty good mask for all pressures, including those higher pressures. Now, higher pressures with a nasal mask, obviously you're gonna have to keep your mouth leak under control. You're gonna have to wear a chin strap or something like that. Typically, people with super high pressures are gonna be using a full face mask. So I don't think this is necessarily as good as like an Evora, for example, if you're at a 20 pressure. But if you do want a minimal mask, you do want a nasal mask, you do want a pillow mask, and you're at a very high pressure, I think this would be one of the options, the best options to get. Okay, that is it for this video. I hope you found it useful. Let me know your comments. They're very useful. Comments is what inspired this video, so maybe you can inspire the next video. Have a good day. If you're in Canada, shop at the CPAP store. Subscribe and sleep well. And I feel like I should have more of an ending for these types